You've always been told that hunger means empty, no fuel, no energy. But what if every fasted walk you take is unlocking a hidden reservoir you never knew you had? Most people keep burning through a tiny tank of quick sugar, missing out on 80,000 calories of stored fat sealed away by a single hormone, insulin. If eating before you move keeps you locked out of your biggest energy reserve, what really happens inside when you walk without food? And why does your body start to feel better, not worse, after the first heavy minutes? The real story starts with a single step. Insulin stands between you and your largest energy reserve. Every time you eat, even a small snack, insulin rises in your blood. This hormone's job is to store, not to spend. When insulin climbs above 20 microunits per milliliter, a typical response after a meal, it sends a clear signal: lock the fat stores. Fat cells receive the message and clamp down, holding tight to their energy. The body is told to burn what is immediately available, not to tap into its backup system. During fasting, insulin drops. After about 12 to 16 hours without food, insulin levels can fall as low as 3 to 8 microunits per milliliter in healthy adults. At this point, the lock comes off. Fat cells open their doors and release free fatty acids into the bloodstream. Muscles can now draw on this steady, slow burning fuel. This is why a fasted walk feels different from a walk after breakfast. The body's instructions have changed. Even a small bite can make a difference. A piece of toast, a splash of milk in your coffee, or a protein bar before exercise can raise insulin enough to keep fat locked away for hours. Studies show that a 50-calorie protein snack can push insulin up to 40 microunits per milliliter, cutting fat release by more than half. A high carbohydrate breakfast can push it even higher, sealing fat stores until late morning. In contrast, black coffee or a small amount of pure fat barely nudges insulin, keeping the door to fat wide open. This is not just theory. Lab measurements confirm that when insulin is high, the enzyme responsible for breaking down stored fat, hormone-sensitive lipase, gets shut down. Fat cannot leave the cell, and muscles are forced to rely on whatever sugar is left over from the previous day. That is why, if you eat before you walk, your body never learns to switch fuels. The big tank stays locked, and you keep running on fumes from the small one. Insulin does not just manage blood sugar, it is the gatekeeper of your energy. Choosing to walk fasted is choosing to lower insulin and unlock the energy you already have. This is the starting line for metabolic flexibility, and it is the reason a simple decision about breakfast can change how your whole system works. Imagine your body as a hybrid car with 2 fuel tanks. The first tank is small and easy to reach. It is filled with glycogen, a form of sugar stored in your muscles and liver. This tank holds 2,000 calories, enough to power a brisk walk for 90 to 120 minutes, or to sprint through a short burst of activity. It is quick, convenient, and usually the first to empty out. Most modern routines keep us running on this small tank, refilling it meal after meal. But there is a second tank, hidden in plain sight. This one is massive. It is your body fat, an energy reserve that is not just for emergencies, but for everyday movement. Even a lean adult carries around 80,000 calories in this big tank. That is enough energy to walk from New York to Chicago without a single snack. The problem is, this tank is locked tight whenever insulin is high. Only when insulin drops low, like after an overnight fast, does the key turn and the big tank open. Walking taps into these tanks differently than other forms of exercise. At a gentle pace, your body prefers to burn fat for fuel. In fact, studies show that fat oxidation peaks at about 60 to 65% of your maximum effort, the same sweet spot as a comfortable morning walk. This is when your muscles start drawing steadily from the big tank. using free fatty acids released from fat cells. The switch is not instant, but the design is simple. Low-intensity movement combined with low insulin gives the most access to fat. For most people, daily habits keep the small tank topped up and the big tank sealed shut. Breakfast, snacks, and late-night treats keep insulin nudging upward, so your body does not learn to switch gears. But when you walk in a fasted state, you are teaching your system to run on its original backup plan. You are not running on empty. You are finally using the energy you have been carrying all along. The next time you feel that first step of a fasted walk, remember, you are not low on fuel. You are just learning to use the bigger tank. The first steps of a morning walk without breakfast can feel like trudging through mud. Legs may feel heavy, and energy seems slow to arrive. This sensation is not a sign that something is wrong. It is the body's natural response to changing fuels. Overnight, your system has used up much of its easy access sugar, glycogen stored in the liver and muscles. As you start moving, muscles instinctively reach for the last of the supply, but it is running low. The body has not yet fully opened the doors to its larger fat reserves. This delay is what scientists call metabolic friction. In the first 10 minutes, the body is burning off what is left from yesterday. Free fatty acids, the energy from stored fat, take a little time to enter the bloodstream and reach working muscles. During this lag, the brain and muscles may signal discomfort or sluggishness. It is a bit like an engine sputtering as it switches fuel tanks. Research confirms that fat oxidation ramps up gradually. After about 10 minutes of low-intensity movement, fat begins to flow more freely, but there is a window where the body is in between fuels. This is why the early minutes can feel like a slog. For most walkers, this heaviness fades as the body completes the switch. The important thing to remember is that this phase is temporary. The discomfort is not a warning light. It is proof that the system is preparing to draw from the big tank. Sticking with the walk is how you teach your body to get better at this transition, making future walks feel easier and more natural. Around the 15-minute mark, something shifts beneath the surface. The heaviness in your legs gives way to a sense of lightness. This is not just a feeling. It is a measurable change. Scientists track this moment by watching the respiratory exchange ratio, spelled RER. When RER drops below 0.85, it means your body has flipped the switch from burning mostly sugar to burning mostly fat. For most people, this happens between 15 and 20 minutes into a brisk, fasted walk. Fatty acids, unlocked by low insulin, now flow freely to your muscles. You're no longer running on yesterday's leftovers. You're tapping into the big tank. At this point, your muscles send a clear message. They are being used, and they are needed. Low-intensity movement, like walking, signals the body to preserve muscle tissue. The mTOR pathway stays active enough to keep muscle intact, while the real burn comes from fat. This is why fasted walking does not strip away muscle, even though you have not eaten. Instead, your body prioritizes fat as fuel and holds onto the muscle you're using. Meanwhile, something subtle happens in your brain. As fat metabolism ramps up, the first traces of ketones begin to appear in your bloodstream. These molecules, made from fat, are a clean burning fuel for your brain. The mental fog that sometimes lingers in the morning starts to lift. Focus sharpens. There is no crash, no jittery spike, just a steady, calm clarity. The relief is real. The walk becomes easier. Your mind feels lighter, and your body is finally running on the energy it was designed to use. Right now, most Americans rarely tap into their largest energy reserve, body fat, simply because of when they eat. As metabolic health declines nationwide, the choice to walk before breakfast becomes a quiet act of self-repair. In a world of constant consumption, restraint is its own kind of freedom.